you can do a lot with a natural body. Like, you don't have to be enhanced. If I can bring a lot of people up with me and we all win, I think that's the greatest accomplishment ever. There we go. When I was in high school and I was looking at like my senior classes, I was like, God, these guys look insane. I look at my classmates, I'm like, you guys look like babies. You just have to be aware that you will have to make a lot of sacrifices, and you have to pick and choose if those sacrifices are worth it. I moved around a lot growing up, making friends with one group of people and then having to say goodbye to them. I didn't realize why my mom was doing that, and so I was just kind of selfish. I was still kind of learning English at the time, and I remember these kids, they would like bully me for that, repeating what I said, but in the accent that I said it in. I remember being backstage getting a pump, competing against these guys who were probably I was just looking at them like, man, this is unfair.
What do you feel like was the hardest decision you've had to make?
To be honest,
Larry made me smoke too much. I'm now high as shit for this podcast.
It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. Christ. Yo, by the way, 4 people just saw me breaking into Niall's apartment.
I have this door. I have this like front door where like you can open it and it's a patio, but it's literally the front street of like the apartment. So
they were laughing about it. It was chill. It was chill. So I thought that was really funny though. I just hopped it over. Yeah. I was like, and now just open the door for me.
All my
they're just all laughing
all the time. It's chill until Niall gets guys that are actually breaking into his house.
Get this big ass cup of water.
Is it?
It's perfect for me because like when I drink water, I always drink like big ass gulps at a time. You know?
I was telling Larry that the reason I got this cup was actually because back in college, I went to Purdue. So shout out to all you Boilermakers. But I used to go to the Neon Cactus. And the Neon Cactus was this famous bar/club bar that was known for having Cactus Thursdays? I don't know. Something Thursdays. Anyways, yeah, Neon Cactus Thursdays.
That sounds like a fun time.
It was a fun time.
Yeah.
Basically, big ass dance floor open though. It's not like you're like facing a stage. It's like everyone's dancing together. Kind of like a disco. Pretty cool. And then they would have those cups, hand out those cups, and you could refill one of those cups full of like a drink for $5, a mixed drink. Damn. And that shit was dense.
Damn.
So like imagine.
Oh, you know, everyone was having a good time then.
Everybody was
with
plastered,
drinks like
bro.
this much.
People were plastered. I was plastered.
This. Cheers, bro.
I had this one time where I don't have to say their name, so they're not gonna get mad at me. But like I think senior year, like before I was graduating, we all went to the Neon Cactus, and I went there with like 2 or 3 of my girlfriends and some guy friends and stuff. And I just remember like at the end of the night, like me and like my female friends were like all making out in separate occasions because we were so plastered and we didn't remember any of it.
Holy crap.
Like I remembered some of it, and I think one of them was just like, I thought that was like just a dream. Wow.
It's real life. It's real life,
really
bro.
Bad. That's why alcohol's dangerous. That's why I quit. So,
holy.
Yeah. No more of those anymore.
Damn.
Good as times. Also, speaking of girls, I can't fucking believe Chove has a girlfriend now.
Yeah, I mean, Chove would tell you all about that.
Yeah?
Yeah. But, yeah, no, he's been single his whole life, and then now he has a girl. So it's, I'm happy for him. Yeah, I feel like he deserves a good woman in his life, you know?
Yeah, for sure
like,
he does.
He's so fucking dope. Like, just like, bro, like, he goes, like, beyond, like, above and beyond, like, to help me with my content. Like, ever since I can even remember. Yeah, our story is pretty long. I don't know if you want to hear that. It's a really long story. I don't know if you have like questions that are already like.
No, I don't. I literally just pull up all these random questions that I already wrote down, like not even for this podcast.
We get started on Chove then.
Yeah. So to be honest, this is very unprepared as usual.
So, wow, where do I begin with Chove? I moved around a lot growing up, right? And so it was due to my mom's work. Like, you remember I used to hate it just because like I would make friends in one city. And then after like a year, I would move again into another city. And, you know, being like however old I was, like I didn't realize why my mom was doing that. And so I was just kind of selfish. And I was like, I remember like asking my mom, like, why do we keep moving? Like, I hate making friends with one group of people and then having to say goodbye to them and then making friends with another group of people, right? It's almost like, I almost felt like, why should I even try to become friends with these people? Because I know I'm just going to move anyways. And then whatever relationship and connection I built with these people, like they're not going to be in my life anymore. And so it was really sad, right? And
How old were you in this?
I was like, well, I moved to the States when I was 5, and my mom's work required us to move a lot, probably like until middle school. That's when we like finally settled in San Jose. But yeah, and because of that, like, I just remember, what was it? When we got to middle school, there was Chove's brother. He was in the same grade as me. His name's Tim. And Tim was in the same class as I was. And it was a very small class because it was a small, like, K through 8, like, private school, right? And so I think in my class, there was only like 30 kids. But yeah, I was friends with Tim. And then our family got along. We went on a lot of family vacations. And that's when, you know, I bumped into Chove. Like, that's when I was first introduced to Chove as Tim's younger brother. And I would just see him here and there because we would always like hang out as a family. And we would I remember like we used to go on a lot of like skiing trips together and trips to like, where else do we go? Probably like LA too. But that's when I first got introduced to Chove. And I think it was probably towards the end of my senior year in high school. I started hitting the gym really, really hard and really consistently just because I stopped playing basketball. I decided to stop playing basketball at that point in time. And so I kind of needed another outlet, like another way to relieve my stress. And so I started going to this one local gym, City Sports. I don't know if you guys have heard of City Sports. I think it's the equivalent of LA Fitness here. But met Chove actually at City Sports. Like, he caught me on a day that I was working out. And he was like, oh shit. I was like, yo, what's up? And then I was like, you want to hop in with me on this chest day? And I think they just got a membership there. And then, yeah, so I took him through like a whole workout. I remember like Chove started, like I vividly remember this. He started inclining benching 2.5 pounds. Like, imagine the Chove we know now, like incline benching 2.5 pounds. Yeah, so he started with that.
Wait, but you were senior, probably, he was like a sophomore?
I think sophomore or freshman in high school. And I was like a senior. But yeah, after that, like, he told me how sore he was. Because obviously that's your first time working out. And I like pushed him too. Like, I'm not going to go easy on him. And I think like it was almost subconscious for me to want to keep training with Chove, because most people that I train with, like who I just introduced to the gym for the first time, they almost get like turned off by the gym because of like how hard I push them. You know what I'm saying? And because Chove wanted to go again, I was like, oh shoot, like this kid is like, he's hungry, like he's ambitious, you know, and that's what I liked. And so I think that's where our friendship really like, when it really like grew and took off, was during that time period. And then obviously COVID happened, and he was one of the main friends who was helping me with my content. And so, yeah, like going back to my earlier point of he goes above and beyond, like I can't even name how many times that he just like helps me with my content, helps me like think of ideas, just everything, bro, you know? And so like, yeah, honestly, really, really grateful to have him in my life. And yeah, like, again, back to what you were saying, like, I'm glad he has a girl now because I know how dope of a person Chove is. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Well, how old were you guys, reeling back just a little bit again, when you first met?
I first met Tim in 6th grade. So I don't know how old I was in 6th grade, but probably...
It's like 11 years old?
11? Is it 11?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. So Chove must have been 10 years old? 9 years old? Damn. Nah, I don't remember him being that young, though. Maybe he was. But yeah, no, I'm also like...
You remember when you're like a middle school kid, like you're like in 5th grade or something, and you look up at the 8th graders and
they're huge.
They start having like hair on their face, and you're just like, dude, you're literally a man.
Yeah,
bro.
But isn't that funny how like when you get to 8th grade, you look at kind of kids your age, and you're like, oh, these guys look like babies.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all about a perception thing.
No, it is, but it's crazy.
It's either that or the kids are slowly becoming like, I guess, more and more soft, if that makes sense.
More soft?
Yeah. Like they look younger than they actually are. You know what I'm saying? Like, Because when I was in high school and I was looking at like my senior year classes, I was like, God, these guys look insane. Like they look like grown ass men.
Yeah.
And then when I was a senior in high school, I look at, my classmates, I'm like,
They just look like babies.
bro, yeah, you guys look like babies.
Or
Like,
at
is
least
it
everyone
is it me or is it just like how the generations are changing?
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like super respective, right? Just like perspective.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
crazy how much that changes as time goes, like for yourself. Like, dude, I just remember this one. There was this one instance where I was on the school bus and I was going home, and I just remember sitting in my chair hoping that I was going to be bullied by that one fucking kid that's always there staring at me watching me, like reading Dragon Ball. That kid, that kid started calling me, okay, just saying this just for the purpose of telling this story, but that kid would literally call me faggot because he caught me reading a Dragon Ball manga. And in the original Dragon Ball mangas, sometimes Goku might like rip his pants off or like just have his pants off for some reason. So like the author would draw balls on him. So literally, I was on the page where Goku's like got his balls
and
out.
he saw that page.
Yeah, this kid saw that page.
What a
Literally
page to look at out of all the other pages.
It was the worst time of my life.
Wow. See, I feel like you and I can definitely relate on being bullied. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I got bullied for a different reason, I feel like, because I remember you telling me you grew up in a, what was it, predominantly like white community?
Yeah.
I recall. Yeah. So I actually was surrounded by Asians my whole life, but the main reason why people bullied me was because of my English. And, I was born in China, moved here when I was 5. And so I was still kind of learning English at the time. And I remember but these kids like repeating what I said, but in the accent that I said it in, and they would like bully me for that.
How old were you?
I was like, this was like between the ages of like when I first moved here, 5 to like 10 or 12 maybe.
Yep.
That's when I like can remember being bullied a lot for my English.
And
I honestly
your English
think
is like perfect now.
I could use a lot of work still, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Heck yeah. I think it's just because I don't like have an accent, like a fobby accent.
Yeah, you don't have an accent at all.
Well, I was also 5 when I moved here, so it's like my brain wasn't even like like developed at all yet. But I was also gonna say like, I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm more to myself and more introverted. Like a lot of people don't think that because of my content on social media, but I'm actually a lot more like laid back and chill and I guess like what's that word? Introspective.
Yeah.
Than people think, and I wonder if it's because of people bullying me, where I just like, I learned to keep my mouth shut because I didn't want to be bullied, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And that kind of made me more analytical of things. Like maybe I should just shut up because these kids are going to bully me anyways, and let me just observe everyone. So maybe, who knows, Like,
do you think that do you remember or recall yourself being like loud when you were younger?
Yeah, from what my parents told me, I was super loud.
Oh.
Yeah, I was super loud, like, especially, I mean, aren't most kids pretty loud though?
Yeah, it depends. Louder than adults are.
Yeah.
But
yeah. No,
there's sometimes there's that quiet kid and sometimes there's
my
a kid that
parents
like causes ruckus all the time.
You're right. My parents
Which
used
one
to tell
do you
me I
prefer?
used to sing like just Chinese songs, like just randomly, And then I think everything changed when I moved to the States. So I sometimes wonder how my life would look like if I had stayed in China. Like I have all these theories. It's interesting. Like I definitely think I'll be a little bit shorter.
Really?
Yeah, I think the pollution in China definitely like would affect my overall health and my height. I think I would honestly probably look super Chinese also.
Like the way you would dress in style?
Yeah, well, not even just that, but I think like do you believe in that? Like if I were to have lived in China, like the 26 years of my life, do you think my like facial structure and how I look would be different as well?
There's no way.
I don't know, man.
There's no way.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like I feel like the only way that happens is like if for some reason being in China causes you to be a mouth breather, and then as you grow up older,
I'm a huge mouth breather.
Your face doesn't even look like it though.
Nah, dude.
You got like the fucking hardcore non-mouth breather.
Because I think about it, like if I were to go back to China now, right? People would automatically know that I'm American just by how I look, right? And so I feel like there's no way that I lived 26 years in China and still look the same that I do now. Do you know what I'm saying? It's almost like because you're around people who look a specific way, the energy, like it almost like affects your own energy and like how you look, of course, how you act, right?
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like
Really? Like facial
like not like a huge difference, of course, but I definitely think I would look more Chinese.
That would be crazy.
Like Chinese. Like
that would be crazy. What? I don't know. Maybe I should look up some science on that or
maybe
something.
we could look into that.
Yeah. I guess I can't even imagine that that's something anyone's ever studied.
That'd be an interesting case.
That would be crazy, dude.
Like if it's actually true.
I feel like that would just be so hard to study because you just have way too many variables.
Yeah.
Each,
True.
each place.
True.
Like way too many. There's fucking millions of variables there. So I think that would just be, I guess that would be kind of impossible to ever.
What if you took
study on?
Yeah. What if you took identical twins?
Oh my God.
And you placed one in China and one in America, or it doesn't have to be China or America, but you know what I'm saying,
right?
And have them grow up and then like compare. Like that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
Are we getting into the cloning stem cell argument?
Maybe.
Complication.
Maybe.
That would be fucking nuts.
That'd be nuts. And then you clone them. You clone the kid version of them and then have them grow up in the same environment. And then you can see like if it really does affect, like the environment affects how you look.
Yeah.
That'd be nuts.
I'd
be so interested in that.
Yeah.
Man, someone has to do that.
I would imagine that there's different, like there's other variables that would like your skin would look probably different based off of all the different variables of living in China versus like America. Like maybe how much you open your eyes when you look at people based off of just the culture and the expressions, facial expressions, and then maybe also like the sun or something. Obviously like body composition, muscle mass, how healthy your organs may be even different. So that could also affect some of your facial features. But I would think that would come down to like skin, like how tight your skin looks, how soft it is, like whether or not you have wrinkles on your face or not. I feel like those could change. But as far as like bone structure and like muscle insertions, I don't think that could change.
Maybe this is just something that my parents told me growing up, and so it's like ingrained in my head, because they used to tell me how if I was living in China and I never moved to the States, I would look different. And I remember that like always being brought up in conversation when they would talk about it. So maybe that's why I think like that too.
You probably could be shorter too.
No, I think definitely shorter.
Yeah.
Just like I'm thinking of all the pollution in China. Like,
do you think your nutrition was just way better? Also, would be better here.
Yeah, I think of course. Yeah.
Real quick, guys. So while I was looking at the YouTube analytics, I actually saw that 85% of you guys that watch this channel are not subscribed, and I want to ask very little of you guys. But if you enjoy this podcast, if you find value in it, then please do me this one favor and subscribe to the channel, because doing so helps me get bigger and greater guests like the guests you are listening to today. Also, this channel is not sponsored, which means only the companies that I work with, which are Young LA and Huge Supplements, are the companies that can help fund this channel by you guys using the code NILE. So code NILE gives you a discount of 15% off of Young LA, and code NILE also gives you a discount of 10% off of Huge Supplements. And if you decide to purchase anything from any of these companies, it will help immensely for me by using my code. And this way, I can travel to other guests, such as Dr. Mike Israetel next week, and also upgrade in equipment to make this podcast bigger and better for you guys. I don't know any studies or research on nutrition in China versus America.
Yeah.
I know it varies a lot. I think the OG Chinese food is definitely... Is it healthier?
The OG Chinese food?
I don't know, like food that's not just doused in oil. Because there's a lot of Chinese food that is.
Yeah, it really depends. Just like with any other culture, I feel like it really depends.
Yeah,
like there's healthy Chinese food, and there's also like
shitty,
really junk,
unhealthy.
A lot of junk Chinese food as well.
And then there's Filipino food, and all of Filipino food is kind of unhealthy.
I love Filipino food, dude. I grew up
it tastes good.
Surrounded by Filipinos, and so one of my good homies, Mike, I remember just like going to his house like all the time, and just like that was like my introduction to seeing all the Filipino food that they would eat. It was cool. Yeah. I really like Filipino food, man. It's so good.
It's so bad though.
It's so bad.
They love their fats. They love their saturated fats, and they love.
That's why it tastes good though.
And then they love their sugar.
That's why you and I were fat kids before.
Yes, yeah, for sure, bro, for sure. I mean, you like lechon, amazing. Even all the
paksiw.
Like so many things are fried.
I really like to.
They love fatty meats, like super fatty meats, which isn't the worst. Like if you were doing carnivore or something, maybe that would work fine. But combining that with the sugars and the other very variant ingredients is what definitely causes health issues there.
Yeah.
So, but the other side of the coin is in the Philippines, unless you have a good amount of money, you're not eating very much. So maybe that kind of balances things out. Calorie restriction for longevity plus. You know, not very healthy food. Maybe it just bounces.
What's your favorite Filipino dish?
My favorite Filipino dish? I've been thinking about this one dish. It's not my favorite, but it's up there. It's called dinuguan.
Oh, yeah. I remember
You know that shit?
I remember the name, but I you got to explain the dish to me again.
It's pig blood.
Ooh. That's right. Wow, I'm surprised you like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised too.
Okay.
But I think it's because I was eating it ever since I was like 5 years old.
Okay.
So I'm just used to it.
I see. I really like tinola. I feel like tinola is pretty healthy, right?
The Filipinos are going to hate me. I don't know what that is.
Oh, from what I can remember, it's just like, I think chicken broth with just like slices of chicken with the bone and just like this one like squash vegetable. Yeah, but I can show you after this.
That's a lot.
It's good. It's good. And
Okay,
it's like, from what I remember too, it's pretty healthy.
Okay, yeah.
It's just like broth and chicken.
The sabaos are not as bad. Sabaos, the soups. That's Filipino. That's a Filipino word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Baos. Wow.
Sabao.
That means like, wow. Okay. That means like bun in Chinese.
Bao means Chinese. Yeah. This is like, it just kind of sound like xiu bao.
Xiu bao?
Like, isn't that how you say it in Chinese? The bao buns with like the stuff inside. Cha xiu bao.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's a bao.
We're getting so off topic right now.
Talks.
Talking about food. Look at these fat asses,
I'm
man.
fucking hungry. What were we talking about last before that? Well, anyways, whatever. I want to reel it back because I want to hear more of I just want to hear more about your stories because I just realized even with our last podcast and how much we've hung out, I guess we've never just like sat down and
exactly
said stories.
Exactly. That's why I told you like at the gym, I'm like, bro, if you just want to come over sometime, and we could just chat. Like, I would love that.
Yeah.
Like, I think I really appreciate our conversations, or like just conversations like these, where it's not just like how's work and very surface level stuff. Like,
I honestly hate small talk.
Yeah, I do too, bro.
I think
I think I do a bad job of hiding it. Like, people would know when I don't want to be involved in a conversation, Yeah. And it's not like I'm not trying to be rude either. It's just like I can't help it, man.
I can tell. I can tell.
Yeah, I can't help it. Like, I need conversations that stimulate me, that make me like think, that make me wonder about like the world, like everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I just like talking about things that I feel like matter a little bit more, right? I mean, what goes on in your day definitely matters to an extent, but like if somebody is having small talk, normally I would assume that they don't share all the deepest stuff about the day that is actually bothering them. People
I feel
tend to be a little guarded when they meet someone new or not very close to.
I feel like a lot of people don't know like my story, really.
I want to hear more about it.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want to know.
But something I was curious about. So when you met Chove, and then that entire time, I was thinking about how, like the entire time I've known Chove, and I'm sure you can confirm this too, but Chove has always been like a very, very like just kind and selfless dude.
Yeah.
He'll always like very, very selfless, like offering always to like help.
Yeah, I love
us
that.
Film videos, help us do anything, will cook for us, and make us the best food, and just like tends to just do it for the sake of doing it, which is fucking cool. Reminds me of my best friend Ryan.
Yeah,
who just do things for people just for the hell of it. So that's why I was thinking, like, honestly, it was cool to like see him have a girlfriend, especially when that's like, I don't mean to be shallow, but especially when that's like sweet and really pretty.
Yeah, yeah, right. No, he deserves it, man. He deserves
especially after
it.
his past.
After
Joe's savage past.
Savage past. I don't even know if that was savage, to be honest. Yeah. No, it's pretty awesome. Like, he'll genuinely help people because seeing other people happy like makes him happy, and that's like that's I think is so dope.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I just can't literally stop thinking about how I just want to keep rooting for him.
Yeah.
Like there's this thing where I just really hate how like in the world more times than not, it's always the super nice people that seem to get the short end of the stick or
nah, man. We're
things
gonna
end up happening to them.
We're gonna do big things, man. We're gonna do big things. I have no doubt. He's super ambitious too. He's working on a lot of things right now. So yeah, I have no doubt, bro. Like I think it's really, really helpful too that, we both kind of keep each other in check, and we both have a very similar goal that we're striving towards.
What is that?
Well, I guess freedom, like financial freedom. I think we both want to give back to our family, I was telling you at this gym earlier, give back to everyone who, is associated with us. Like, like anyone who is like helping us. I think if I can bring a lot of people up with me and we all win, I think that's the greatest accomplishment ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that I've been thinking about literally for the last like 5 years straight.
Yeah.
And more as I grow older, it just becomes more prominent how I'm trying to figure out how to become wealthy in time and money. I just think these are currencies, obviously, that are the most important to probably most of us, especially myself. And it just sounds like the hardest fucking job in the entire world, bro. How do you make both more time and more money? Like the investment, to me, really, honestly, it just comes down to sacrifice.
It does.
Like
it does.
If you want more time and more money later, you got to give it all up right now.
I mean, not necessarily all of it up, but you do have to know. You just have to be aware that you will have to make a lot of sacrifices, and you have to pick and choose if those sacrifices are worth it, right? But
that's the hardest part I think about life too. Is obviously the experiences first, but like hardest part when it comes to like your own actions is like making the decisions and knowing if it's right and then committing to that. Committing to knowing like this decision was right. This is the decision I've committed to. I'm going to sit with this without thinking about any of the other ones or the options.
It is. Right? It is hard.
Same thing as like, I guess, finding a girlfriend or finally finding a partner or finding someone that you marry is like, there's a lot of instances where a lot of people I'm sure have been in places where like they have to choose between two people or something like that.
Right.
And I think a lot of times that causes issues is the what if when you're in a relationship that seems to be like a little messy or falling apart a little bit. Like say that you had something or have something when like somebody else, like there's going to be
there's always that what if, right? But I think as long as you make the decision that at the current time that you've made that decision you think is the correct decision, then you can't beat yourself up for it. If you genuinely thought that the decision that you made at that specific time in your life was truly the best decision, then you can't be mad at yourself. Like maybe down the road you realize it's not the best decision, but you can't blame yourself for thinking at the time that was the best decision. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree as well. I think that's what makes it hard though. Is like just figuring out and like knowing which one is like, of course, if I don't know, if enough time passes, normally like you'll find yourself feeling more one way at some point. Normally it takes some time. I mean, we're still growing. Like we learn so much like every single year, like, so I don't think anyone like will have the same mindset, will have the same thoughts, will have the same just anything like a week, a month, even a year from now. Like I think so differently now than I thought like a year ago and then 5 years ago. And so it's just always I feel like we are always just thinking very, very differently as time goes by. What do you feel like was the hardest decision you've had to make?
The hardest decision I've ever had to make? Ooh. I think one of the hardest decisions I had to make was giving up basketball, because basketball was such a huge part of my life. I started playing when I was 8 and played all the way up until senior year of high school. Yeah. And this was during the time when I was offered, I think, a couple from a couple community colleges nearby to play at their college. And I remember that being like such a tough decision, that when I decided that I was going to go the educational route and stop playing basketball and take it as far as I could. I remember making that decision, and I remember going to this park right next to my house. It's like 2-minute walking distance from my parents' place. And I remember it was just a very, very sad day. Like, it was a gloomy day, and I was the only one outside, and I was just shooting around, like thinking about my future and like what I'm going to do now, because I really wanted to take basketball as far as I could. Like, I wanted to play like overseas. I wanted to just do a lot of big things with basketball. But it's funny that I bring up basketball now, because I think a lot of people are interested in that part of my life. And I think I'm going to start doing a little bit more basketball content, whether that's just like posting like a pickup game and maybe like some of the highlights from that, or just like, I don't know, like making basketball content. I think that's like a side of me that not a lot of people know, right? Like, they probably know I play basketball, but I don't think people realize like how seriously I took basketball.
That's insane. I never knew that about you at all.
Really? I feel like you've seen me play basketball a few times though.
Oh, I know you're I know you're hella crazy good at basketball.
Not just that, but like
having a lot of experience, but I didn't know that you were considering like playing in college.
Yeah. I want to be the next Jeremy Lin, bro.
Shit.
I mean, that's like every hooper's dream as a kid growing up. But then you realize like just how insane you sound. It's just insane. Because if I were to play in the big leagues now, I would be a point guard with my height. And growing up, I would always play a position that wasn't the point guard. So it's like I never developed those skills. And so it was one of those realizations where like, how am I going to compete against people who have trained their entire lives in this one position, you know? And I'm just like, growing up, I played like multiple positions, you know? So
why did you choose this path?
Which path? Like the educational route?
Over basketball.
Why? I just realized that basketball wasn't going to take me far, or as far as I thought. And I realized that the educational route was going to take me a little bit further.
How did that work out for you?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm using my bachelor's degree that I got, but I don't know. Life works in very strange ways, right? Like I think I said this on the last pod, but I just graduated with a bachelor's in kinesiology, or health and exercise science. And I was taking a gap year, and that's when COVID hit. And so that's when I started creating content. That's when, you know, all the sponsors started reaching out, the brand deals. And that's when I, again, decided to pursue something like this over like trying to be a physical therapist. So I guess to answer your question, I guess it doesn't really apply to my life as much, you know, outside of like if I get an injury or a homie gets an injury and I can help them recover from that injury. So, I
mean, you do learn a lot about like, you know, body movements and mechanics. Like that with kinesiology, right? So how much do you think that contributed to like, you know, the fact that you're into fitness right now?
I think it contributed a significant amount, I would say. Just like, I think it was really fascinating back in college, like learning about, you know, the scientific names for each muscle. And I think that was really cool. And just kind of seeing like, you know, like the structure of the human body. Like a lot of people don't like realize like how crazy it is that our bodies move the way they move and where the muscle attaches. And like,
it is crazy.
It is nuts if you really go in depth. And I thought that was so interesting.
Like, how the fuck does your tendon have that much like attachment to your bone to literally lift that long of a lever arm that you're fucking curling like what, almost 100 pounds?
Yeah.
Like, dude, like it makes it no wonder that like all these bodybuilders get injuries so easily. I mean, obviously maybe if they practiced warming up and hitting movements that were like not aligned with bodybuilding type movements, then that would help too. But still, even like just doing a bicep curl and suddenly you got a bicep tear.
Yeah, that's scary.
Like,
but it was also cool because I was also a personal trainer at the time. And so I think I was pretty successful as a personal trainer just because when I had clients, I would, if they wanted to hear about it, because a lot of clients, they didn't care, as long as they were getting fit and healthy. But the ones that cared, like I would explain to them almost like what my professors would explain to me about how the human body works. And the people who are interested, they found great value in that. Like, and just me as a trainer, like, oh, he knows his shit, compared to a trainer who just, I guess, just teaches you the movement without really going in depth and explaining like why this is effective, why this is, why you need to do this specific exercise for your body, for your composition. Yeah. So it definitely helped me in the personal training aspect as well.
I don't think I used my degree at all. I don't think I have a single thing.
Yeah. It was engineering.
Yeah, I was mechanical engineering.
You're a smart guy.
No, bro. I was just good at taking Adderall and trying to work hard.
Holy shit. Dude, I've never taken Adderall for like college.
No.
You're
a smart guy.
No, I'm not. I actually don't think I am. I think it's because I just work really hard. Because I would almost say like I almost like retain information a little bit slower than most people, but it's because like I don't know, I have this like burning passion in me to like be good at everything that I do, and just like not even just be good at everything you do, but do everything to the best of your abilities.
It's the Asian only child.
Yeah, I think it is, bro. I think it is.
I get it.
It's that comparison that your parents make to
every kid.
Other kids. Yeah, bro. Yeah, it really is, and it makes you be like, what the hell? Like, why am I not like this kid? So then you try to one up him, or you try to one up her.
Yep.
And then it's just an endless cycle.
Unfortunately for me, it also just made me despise my parents.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate to say it.
But it's ingrained in the culture, So
that's the beauty of
we have to be more I feel like we have to be a lot more people have to be forgiving of their parents. Yeah, because I remember like I didn't treat my parents the best growing up, just because like like they would always nag at me, like I didn't want to be around them because I was so used to them, and but growing up you really realize like how much they actually love you and how much like they want you to succeed.
Yeah.
Right. And just how much effort they put into making sure that you're just a good person.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and the craziest thing about it is like, it's not them. It's the fact that they lived in a culture where the value of your well-being stood more with your success and your stability rather than your happiness at the current time. And that's just like culture.
Yeah.
It's upbringing, right?
Right.
Like you go to San Diego and it's a little different. It's a little bit tailored more to like, how happy are you? How fulfilled are you? How much love do you spread to the people beside you?
Sure.
Just how much love do you experience? How much family like time you have? That would be, I feel like, good well-being.
Yeah.
You want to care for your friends, like that's what you would hope for them in San Diego. You go to somewhere in Asia, like especially like maybe a rural area, or I don't know, just anywhere, honestly, in East Asia, and it's that's not what it's like.
Here,
like well-being is like success,
so different.
How much money you have, how professional it is, just etc.
Yeah. It's so different, man. That's why I feel like we're like a hybrid, because we're not considered Chinese. Like I'm not considered Chinese. You're not considered Filipino, but we're also not considered American either. Like we're in a separate bubble, right? That has both values of Western and Eastern society, which I mean, it depends how you look at it. I think it's pretty cool.
I think it's cool too.
I think it's really cool
because the Asian American bubble is like so small. And like, obviously we moved to California where, well, you were in
yeah, I was in like NorCal,
okay,
Northern California. Yeah, a lot.
Luckily in California, it's a lot more prevalent, right? But didn't you grow up in an area that wasn't too many Asian Americans, or did you have a good amount?
Asian Americans? No, I grew up around Asian Americans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who were the people that were bullying you in school for like your accent and stuff? Were those still?
I think they were Asian American.
Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. Isn't that messed up? But you know how kids are. Kids are like that.
Dude, they are. Yeah. I had a fucking Asian kid. It was like 4th grade. I have an Asian kid. I was walking down the halls and some kids were making fun of me for being Asian. And then the Asian kid called me a chink too and did the same thing. And I was like,
whoa,
you fucking look more Asian
whoa,
than I do.
You had it much rougher than I did. I'll tell you that. Because you were actually bullied for like being Asian. I was just bullied like for my accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived in Texas, College Station, Texas. It's like, you can't really get more cowboy than College Station, Texas.
Wow.
Just fucking home with Texas A&M, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate the experience. I think that's why I just love being around like my Asian friends now. I just fucking love it.
Yeah.
I think that's
because you weren't surrounded by that.
I wasn't
growing up.
surrounded by
no,
it
that's
at
sick.
all.
That's sick.
Yeah. It's probably why I also like,
It's almost like it's a part of you that you wanted, but you never had. And then now you have it. You're like, oh, this is so dope. You know?
Yeah. I might say something that might be a little triggering, but I'm just going to be straight up and open about it.
Sure.
And hopefully she doesn't listen to this, but I feel like that's another reason why like I literally just only find myself attracted to like Asian and white girls. Is like I feel like the white girls maybe like relate more to like the culture I was in when I was younger, but also it's like those are the girls that like never liked me.
The white girls?
Yeah, because I was like Asians were looked at as at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah.
Like in late 1990s.
You're saying that like you're old as hell. Sorry, keep going.
It's fucking old.
It's not. Bro, you're
It's a secret.
my bad. We're gonna cut that part out.
God damn it, Larry. All right. I hope this podcast gets the least amount of views.
It's gonna go viral. Hey, make this go viral, guys.
Shit. Yeah, like late 1990s, early 2000s, late 2000s. Like it was substantially more racist back then than it is now. In the course of 20 years, the amount of like actual like active in-person racism has just changed so substantially because nowadays there's like cancel culture and obviously, you know, liberals have become a little bit more extreme.
Yeah. Right.
And I think it's just it's nice, but I think even if there are racist people, they're more scared of saying things now. And I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Going back to what you were saying though about how you have a type, you're attracted to white girls and Asian girls. Isn't that so crazy how like everything that who we are now, it really is from childhood. You know what I'm saying? It's the more you think about it, like it makes complete sense. Like everything is just from childhood. Like it's all the traumas, bro.
All the trauma.
It's all the traumas. Yeah. Because I guarantee you, if you weren't surrounded by like a lot of predominantly white people, like I feel like your taste in women would be a lot different too.
Would be different. I think it would also include the media that
the media
too. So like watching Britney Spears, she was considered hot at the time. I thought she was hot. Megan Fox, same thing. Fucking Lindsay Lohan. There's just like all these girls at the time that were looked at as very attractive, and when I saw them, I thought they were hot too.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like I think that stuck with me. You know, watching all these Megan Fox videos, and now I like emo chicks.
Yeah.
But with the Asian thing, it's interesting because the Asian thing didn't really come from childhood. I didn't really have any experience with any Asian girls or Asian women. But I think I find myself attracted to them now because I feel like I can relate to them. I feel like I'm more connected to my culture with them.
Maybe a part of that too. So I don't keep interrupting you, but I think a part of that too is because maybe because you haven't experienced what it's like to date an Asian girl. Like it's almost like, I don't know, maybe you're longing for it almost.
Wait, right now? Like at this time?
Maybe.
Maybe
because like you were saying, like you can relate with them so much more, and maybe that's like a part of you that you always wanted, but you couldn't get from this group of people.
So a majority of the girls that I've seen, I've talked to, or even had like deeper relationships, like dating that wasn't like an official relationship with, majority of the people I've seen has been white. But the two only official long-term relationships I had were both Asian. So in college was 4-year Asian, and then Ro.
Yeah.
4 years. She's Asian.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. I couldn't tell you, but all I know is that I think maybe they both just have their reasons that I find like allured towards them, right?
Yeah.
Like white responds with my experiences as childhood, and then Asian is more of like my blood and my culture. So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Could very well be. Yeah.
How do you think, what was like your dating life since like being a kid now?
My dating life? Oh man.
Just tell me everything.
About my dating life? I mean,
Well,
like
I'll block
I
Rebecca from listening
didn't
to this
really
podcast.
care for like a getting a girlfriend. Like in high school, I remember, of course, I was attracted to girls and I had crushes. But I also feel like I was so inexperienced back in high school that a lot of the girls that I felt like were interested in me, I just, for whatever reason, I just like blew it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just either really ignorant or I don't know what it was, but yeah, like I was not really looking, I didn't really date at all. And unexpectedly, I got into a relationship my senior year of high school. And that lasted until my sophomore year of college. And then that was like a really bad breakup. I remember, I think, did I talk about this on the previous pod? I don't even know. But I remember talking about
I don't know if you went in depth.
Yeah, I didn't go in depth, but.
Can you? Is that okay?
I mean, yeah, like I just remember, because I used to be like, I used to always show up to each and every single one of my classes. And I remember during that heartbreak, I would just stay in my room and just like watching YouTube videos and just like not even wanting to go out. And like I just wanted to be in bed because it was almost like comforting and not
It was just
doing anything.
literally incapacitating.
Yeah,
That
it was.
breakup
I remember it being probably one of like incredibly hard for me, and you know, I think that's when the gym, that's when I took the gym a lot more seriously, and the gym definitely helped me get out of that mindset. I think that's what it was, and yeah, I mean, like I learned a lot in that first relationship. Obviously, it was the first one, and it was 3 years, so it was a really long one. And you know, as a kid, you get into a relationship and you think this is going to be the person, right? And you don't realize, like, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are doing it, but you don't realize like how rare it is for a high school couple to last, right? And I didn't realize that, and so I thought this person was going to be my forever, and that's why I think I took it so hard, or like the way I took it, right? But
Yeah.
no, that taught me a lot about myself, and it taught me the most important thing that relationship taught me was to not allow myself to be, I guess, comfortable even in a relationship, right? Like I used to always put my significant other's happiness first over my own, which, you know, of course I want my significant other to be happy, but it was to the point where I was not considering my own happiness and what I wanted to do and, you know, all the things I wanted to accomplish, right? And so I kind of lost sight of that in that first relationship. And I think that was the biggest lesson that I learned from that. Yeah.
I think it's easy for us many times in our first relationships to, I think, lose sight of what our value is.
Yeah.
Lose sight of our value of ourselves.
You can't blame us either, because like, especially as guys, like that's the first time you're receiving like so much love.
Yeah.
You know, as guys, you don't really get that much love unless it's like from your parents or your siblings maybe.
Yeah.
Right. And growing up as an only child, that was like, whoa, this is like something I don't really experience
At all.
Right.
Yep.
I'm not saying my parents didn't give me love, guys. I'm just saying like,
but like there is a certain level of like energetic communication that people can give you to show that they love you, to like let you feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think in Asian culture, that's very hard.
Yeah.
In Asian culture,
it's a different kind of love that they portray.
A lot of parents, a lot of the elder crowd tend to be very like robotic, not very like, they don't show emotion very much. So it's, I think, hard to like emotionally connect sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
Things are just very logical for them. I feel like a lot of the anger or a lot of the like emotions I feel like I saw with, you know, this culture at that time was, there's like a lot of anger.
There is a lot of anger. Yeah.
You know,
they're very.
There's happiness too, but definitely a lot of anger.
I would say very closed-minded also, which is why I said I think it's pretty cool that we're like not in either bubbles, but we have our own bubble as an Asian American, because I think we can kind of see both cultures and decide which one we like to, show our kids, right, and future generations.
You know, my favorite contrast of generation is the like, is it called, what is it called when you are born in America but your parents weren't? Is that first gen? Is that first gen American?
I don't. Maybe we gotta
like FOB is like straight from there, and then first gen is like born here.
We gotta look that up. I don't want to give false info to the people.
Okay. I'm gonna look it up real quick. I feel like this is common sense. How do I not remember this? Your parents are first gen.
I remember someone saying to me, "I'm first gen."
Your parents are first generation. You were second generation. Oh, you were second generation.
I'm
if
second
you were
gen.
born in America. So you're first gen.
I'm first gen.
I'm second gen.
Oh.
Your parents are first generation. You were second generation if you were born in America. 1.5 if you were born in Asia.
1.5?
But moved with parents as a child.
1.5 is a thing?
I don't think so.
I'm 1.5 generation.
You're 1.5 generation.
Wait, really?
Yeah, but I don't know if this is true.
Wait, you're 1.5 if you're born in the same country that your parents?
This guy had to be fucking around.
Okay, yeah.
He had to be fucking around.
1.25.
Are considered 1.5 generation, not 0.5. What? What are they talking about? Fucking Reddit.
Oh, you're on Reddit.
I go to Reddit for all my information. That's why I'm so credible.
I see. Cultured man.
Cultured. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. You know what I think is like, honestly, just the most funny, but just like phenomenal difference in generations is like the Asian American generation, like the Asian American first gen versus second gen generation, especially if it's like Asian American first gen versus Asian American raver second gen. You have like straight up serious parent just wants all success, and then you have these Asian kids that were hella suppressed and now just want to fucking love everybody and full of emotion and have fun with each other. Just complete opposite.
I know so many people like that description you just described. Yeah.
That's what makes me thinking about like when I have a kid, like I've always wondered just how am I going to want to raise them? Do you have an idea how you'd want to? I mean, obviously this is going to change as we grow and as we actually have the kid and have the experiences, but
I think it will depend on whether I have a son or a daughter. I feel like with the son, I want him to have some Asian values and morals that I had growing up and that my dad taught me. But I also want him to be not as closed-minded as my parents. You know, like if I had a son, I would show him what it means to be a man, and I like if I had a daughter, I would just like I would give love to both of them, but I feel like the love that I would give to my son, he would probably think it's not love, but it's also because I want him to succeed. Yeah. So
he sounds very Asian of you.
Maybe that's the Asian side of me.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But I would for both of them, I would let them do whatever it is that they want. I would let them try a bunch of things, see what, they're really connected to. And just, Yeah.
It's going to be so hard, bro. Cause every single time like your kid does something, now you got to make a new decision. You got to make a decision based off of like whatever, but every situation is just so specific. It's like you'll never know until you're there, You'll just never know how you're going to treat your kid and how you're going to raise them until you're there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the scariest.
No one knows.
Bro,
Yeah, it is. But no one knows. Every single parent, when they raised their first kid, didn't know how to raise them. It was all like a trial and error. Sure, there are some things where you can learn, like this is good parenting, this is bad parenting, but I think a lot of parents just kind of wing it too. I think they learn as they go too.
Have you ever heard of there was like these two opposite methods? I think like I could totally be saying this totally wrong, so please don't take what I'm saying take it with a grain of salt, but I think like 6 months to like maybe a year. There's some people that are saying like when the baby's crying, pick him up immediately and take care of him. Whereas there's other people that were saying like
you should let them cry.
Let them cry.
Yeah. Let them like
for
feel
a
their
certain period of
emotions.
time. I don't know what the boundary is for how long or how many times, but it's always been interesting to hear the perspectives. They'd be like, some people will say if you just let them continue to cry, at some point they'll give up and not believe that you're ever going to be there to save them. Right. Whereas the other side is like, if you let them cry, then they'll get comfortable with soothing themselves.
Okay.
So then they're not always relying on you.
This was a study, you said?
It's not a study. It's just two different sides of. It's just two different sides of this belief of how you should.
Okay.
How you should.
I really wonder, like, the kids who are in. I guess the kids who are taught, the parents who would comfort the kids. I wonder how they are now versus the kids who were not comforted.
Right.
Yeah, I really wonder. Like that would be an interesting study.
I hate to say
Like
this
seeing them now.
I hate to say this because I'm the parent that I think that I want to go help the kid when he's crying.
No, you definitely are.
Unless it's like, you think so?
I think so. I think you're.
Unless it's like 3 a.m. in the morning and I'm waking up and they're crying and I'm just going to be like, God damn it.
Yeah.
But like thinking about what you just said now, I almost feel like the more independent one, the one that's less reliant on others, would probably be obviously the kid that was left to soothe himself after some time.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many times you should do that. I don't know how.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I don't know. Maybe there's a middle ground. You know?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you should be there as much as you can.
Yeah.
But at least there's always going to be accidents in life. So maybe a
right.
few times when it's actually hard for you to be there when he's crying.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the universe did. It made it hard for you to be there. So don't hate yourself.
Right. I'm thinking with my daughter, I'll comfort her immediately. With my son, I'll just let him cry. You know, like that's okay. That is my mindset now, at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny as shit.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh, your poor son. Oh shit.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's gonna be daddy's little girl.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
But man, this is crazy. Why are we talking about kids right now?
I don't know, man.
We're getting old, man.
I know. I've been thinking about it a lot. Yeah, I think I'm just getting old. I don't know. I'm trying to be happy with both, but for some reason, I wanted to have like a boy first and then have a girl, but I don't know why recently I've been feeling like I want to.
You want to have a girl first?
I don't know.
A daughter? Yeah. Why is that?
I think if I had 2 children, I would want the boy first.
Yeah.
The boy's older for sure.
Yeah.
Then obviously, hopefully he can, be a good support.
Yeah.
And a good role model for the girl.
Yeah.
But that's, you never know.
You never know, man. You never know.
You could have a fucking ruckus.
Yeah.
Of a kid like I was.
Were you?
Yeah.
I was a really bad kid.
You were a bad kid too?
I was a really bad kid. I used to steal like Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
No way.
Yeah, I used to steal Yu-Gi-Oh cards like as a kid because I think I wonder if it's because my parents wouldn't let me get the Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yeah.
But
that's probably why.
I was like I was 6 or 7. I was super young.
Yeah.
Yeah, like very, very young. But yeah, I used to be a troublemaker, dude. Like I used to doodle in class because I didn't care about what the teachers were saying. I used to get like timeouts in class. Like back then, that's what it was called. But such a bad kid, dude.
There's a bunch of times I got like the pink slip or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've gotten like infractions, detentions. Yeah, and I think that really changed for me when I got to high school.
How come?
I honestly believe it's because of my basketball coach. I think he really instilled consistency, discipline, and just like doing everything that you do with purpose, to the best of your abilities, And yeah, he was a tough coach, man. Very, very tough coach. But I think he honestly saved my life, to be honest, because going from being such a troublemaker and such a bad kid to high school, and now that I think about it, like I was so like disciplined in high school, like high school onward, I was so disciplined, and I think it's largely due to having my basketball coach in my life for those 4 years. or 3-4 years. Yeah.
What would you say is the toughest thing you had to go through in your childhood up till college?
In my childhood till college? I mean, like I said earlier, it was probably like giving up basketball.
The decision?
Decision, going the education.
What about something that you had to go through? Like that wasn't a decision, something that you just had to go through?
Again, probably just like moving to different cities all the time and like not wanting to get close to anyone because I knew that my mom was going to move because of work. And so every friend that I made wouldn't have mattered if I'm going to meet new friends, you know? So that was really tough on me now that I think about it and self-reflect.
So who do you think were the closest people to you? And like how many friends would you say that you had? Like, would Chove be considered one of the closest people?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, Chove's my best friend, but it was just my mom and my dad here. All of my other relatives, they're back in China, and we were the only ones who moved to the States, which is why I feel like that's why I feel like family is such a huge value of mine, just because all I knew growing up was my dad and my mom.
Was your dad and your mom?
Yeah, and I didn't have a sibling. I didn't have like, I guess, a best friend or like a close friend growing up because I would always move. So then my friends would always change.
Yeah.
And yeah, it wasn't until we finally settled in San Jose, and then that's when I met Chove, and then that's when we started developing our relationship, and then known that guy since middle school, and so been friends since.
Did you ever feel a time where you like didn't want to be part of family, or family, like I guess maybe in a way hurt you too much, or like made you not want to be close?
Yeah, I think because I was always with them too, I think I kind of took them for granted, and I always wanted to almost kind of be away from them, just because at the time I was thinking like I had my own life to live. Like, I don't want to be in my parents' place, like, like for the rest of my life. Right. And so, yeah, I think I did avoid my parents. I mean, I still love them. It's just like, there would be times where I'm just like, I just remember thinking to myself, like I have to go home for dinner because, like that's family time, right? Like we would always eat dinner by the table, and that would be our family time. And I just remember being like, oh, I can't like, go out and eat with my friends because, I have to be back at home with my family. And I think growing up, my parents understood that like later on, and they kind of let me have the freedom that I wanted to, do my own thing, but just like also making sure that I had family time too, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely been times that I felt very restricted, and I don't know, I just kind of wanted to get away from my family. But now in hindsight, like they're everything to me, man. Like the reason why I'm going so hard too is for my family, obviously for, my friends too. But my priority is right now is definitely providing back and, giving back to my family and being able to support them. They're pretty old now too. So definitely reaching that age where it's going to be more difficult for them to support themselves.
When you told me how old your dad was, I was shocked.
Yeah. So my dad's 70 and my mom is like in her 60s. And so, like I just want to retire my mom. I just want to give them everything that, like, tenfold basically, that they gave me growing up. So yeah, that's why I'm going so hard too, man. It's just like I have to,
of course.
Yeah, like I get this one chance at life, and so I have to. Yeah, it's like it's just like a fire inside of me to do that for them. Yeah, they're not telling me to do that for them. They're like, if anything, they're like, yo, you should like calm down a little bit. Like my mom tells me I'm like very aggressive when it comes to like I guess chasing the life that I want to give my parents and the life that I want for myself. She says I'm very aggressive with it. And
Really?
And I told her like,
wow,
like I have to, Mom. Like you don't understand. Like
wow,
I realize how much you guys loved me, and I realize how much you guys wanted me to succeed. I'm not just about to ruin that opportunity that you guys gave me, you know?
That's beautiful.
So, yeah.
I think that's a really great example for all of us, especially those of us who maybe are looking to have kids in the future and haven't had them yet. Because I've had a different experience from you slightly, so I can see a lot of the contrast, and it's crazy for me to think about right now.
Yeah.
If you feel like any of the medications that we spoke about today may benefit you, such as BPC 157, GH secretagogues such as Tesamorelin, IGF-1, oxandrolone troche, semaglutide, then you can obtain these from Transcend HRT, and the link for that will be in the bio. If you feel like you're experiencing symptoms of low testosterone, such as depression, anxiety, lack of motivation, as well as lack of sex drive, then you can get this checked out as well by getting your blood work done at Transcend, and they will provide you expert medical analysis. Transcend HRT has worked with many professional bodybuilders and pro athletes, such as Thor Bjornsson, Phil Heath, and Jeremy Buendia. And if you feel like this podcast has any relevancy to you, I do believe that this clinic will provide of great benefit to you as well.
Yeah, just because my hair gets too crazy now. And I really don't have time in my day to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to do the things that will get me to where I want to be.
Okay.
And so that's why I just put it on. Boom. That's it.
I have something I have to tell you.
Yeah.
I have to tell you this. Hopefully no one gets mad. But you know how you're talking about how, like, you know, you used to take all this time to get your old hair done, and like your old hair was like, just like my old hair was kind of like a staple.
Yeah,
of, like,
yeah,
our identity, right?
We were known for our hair.
We were known for our hair, our multiple hairs.
Well, for you it was multiple. For me it was just one look.
Oh no,
you had multiple looks.
I didn't mean multiple hairstyles. I was just being stupid.
Oh, okay.
Multiple hairs, which I don't have multiple. I just have like a single hair now on my head. Fucking don't take steroids. Yeah, there was someone who told me they actually thought you looked hotter and were more attractive when now that your hair was more of like a white boy hair. Now that's
no way, dude. I wouldn't even say it's white boy hair. It's more of like a Korean hair.
That's what I thought.
I mean,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, I feel like there's always going to be people who say like, "Oh, you look better with this haircut," and then people who say,
"Oh, you look better with the other one."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like,
it's
just whatever makes you happy, man.
Exactly.
You know, and right now,
exactly.
Trying to get to who I want to be makes me happy, and so that's why I just
I agree. Yeah. I get so much conflict in my comment section every time I change my hair, man. I swear to God, bro.
Like bad comments?
No, just a mix. Well, I get as equal bad comments as good comments, I'd say. So it's just whatever it is. But every time I change my hair, dude, someone comments about how ugly it is and we'll compare it to something fucking really hurtful. And then the other ones will be like, well, they'll be nice. They'll be like, oh, fuck, dude, that fucking hairstyle's sick or shit like that. But recently the new hairstyle, I've been having people compare me to like grandma or like
grandma.
Someone said grandma.
Yeah, I was telling you now at the gym, like I think my favorite hair that Now had was like the platinum. We'll pull up a picture for them, but it was like platinum. And dude, you look diced in that photo too.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, you actually look like a DBZ character. That was nuts. That was nuts. Bro. Yeah,
I love the silver hair, but it just it was way too hard to upkeep.
Oh, really?
As a man, like if I was a female, I'd probably put more work into it. But I don't care enough.
Yeah.
Like if I be naturally pretty is one thing. But putting all that hard work and time into just trying to look good all the time, bro, is just not really my thing. Like I like to be aesthetic if I can, but like I'm a male just like you, and like a man that like wants the some of the energy I think now as I grow older and older too, just gets more distributed to the success and financial freedom, maybe actual like connection, and
yeah. It's almost like
I don't know. It's just more just like ability to provide versus like looking good. Right. You know.
I mean, you really start to realize like the things that matter a lot more. Obviously, like the way you look matters,
right? But it matters a lot more when you're a kid, because when you're a kid, your girlfriend doesn't really care about your ability to provide as much. Y'all's parents or something are helping with that, at least to some sort of extent. Then you get older and it's totally different. It's not just all about your looks anymore. So. Yeah, that's where I see a lot of difference between attractions and stuff when you look at like TikTok and then you talk to like your friends that are like in their late 20s or something. Yeah. A lot of
completely different.
It's completely different, bro. Shit on TikTok is like God, bro, it's so thirsty. It's so thirsty.
That's TikTok, yo. That's TikTok. It's such a Gen Z app.
You remember when there were those fucking e-boy trends where you'd like pretend to choke the camera? Or put the camera on your bed and then you'd go over the camera and let your chain dangle down on it.
I've seen a couple of those. Yeah. I've seen a couple of those.
Bro, just like, and then you just like imagine the person just grabbing the camera like this.
Yeah. I've seen that before. I'm like, ooh, swipe up.
Oh, fuck. Good times. Anyways, back to the conversation. You were talking about your parents and how, so the difference that I've noticed in myself is that unlike you, my parents were, unfortunately, I think it was really amazing that they gave you some more freedom. I remember in my high school days, middle school to high school days, I wasn't allowed to hang out with people. So I didn't, my life was like just going to school and then extracurriculars and going home and dropped off my parents, picked up my parents. So I had no social life. So during that period of time is when I'd be sneaking to the computer to try to play online games. And
I remember you telling me about this, man.
Yeah, it was like a real like Otaku, like TikTok of Gen Z age type of like lifestyle, which is kind of in a weird way why it's kind of funny that I feel like I relate a lot to to TikTokers and the new Gen Z like culture, is because that's literally was my life, right? Yeah, like just fucking watching tons of anime and like playing video games online when my parents couldn't see.
Oh, you're probably a really, really cracked gamer then. Because you know how they say like the skills that you develop as a kid, you're usually like really, really good at as an adult. Like people, just using this as an example, but people who played chess growing up, like they're so damn good at chess, even if they haven't touched chess for like a really long time, but they're so good because they had that foundation as kids and the experience as a kid. So that's why I say that, because I feel like the fact that you gamed a lot as a kid, I feel like if you were to try to pick up a game, a very similar game to the ones that you played in your childhood, you would be really, really good at. I also think that's why I'm really good at Smash Brothers, is because I grew up playing Smash Brothers. Yeah. And I'm like,
for sure.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's definitely why. The games I played, unfortunately, though, were like MMORPGs. So there's not very many games that I could play with other friends these days, like on a console, that I'd be good at. Because these were all like, I was playing RuneScape. Then when I got in high school and I like made my own money at a certain point, I was like, what was I playing? I was playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. I was playing. One of my friends got me in the World of Warcraft. I played that for like a very short period of time. But yeah, maybe I could be, I don't know. There's people like Michael who have been playing World of Warcraft for like 10 years who are literally my exact reason why I'm never going to get into that.
Wait, why though?
He's just so fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
That kid plays 8 hours of World of Warcraft every single day.
10 years of experience, like, oh, you get your ass handed to you, bro.
It's so crazy. But anyways, going back to that though, I didn't have the opportunity to, I say, like go out with friends for dinner or something, or like I didn't have to be home at dinner by a certain time. I just had to be home. So like I would either go home on the school bus or my parents would pick me up. So it got to the point where I kind of just despised my life, and I despised home. I despised anything associated with not freedom. Anything that wasn't freedom, anything that was control, I just despised. And so unfortunately at the time, I despised my parents, I despised my family, I despised my life, and it was just the most unhappy time of my entire life. But in a weird way, I'm very thankful for it, because every day I live now is so amazing compared to that. Even I'll still wake up with like days with tons of anxiety, thinking about some crazy things that are going into my life that I can't share, things that are associated with my family or people around me. But still, to this day, it comes to me as a really amazing reference point for me to look back on and be like, that time of my life was, I was admittedly very suicidal. So nothing now ever compares and ever gets me even close to the place of that. Like I am appreciative. I'm grateful for where I am, and I have the ability to continue to try to progress and make it better. Whereas back then I didn't have the ability to do anything. I was I couldn't like escape it by working harder, you know, because I was at home.
Now, did your parents ever tell you like why they didn't want to let you hang out with your friends?
There was a few times when I was younger where they would like let me go to friends' birthday parties, and they let me go to like Ryan's place, which was like a kid next door, but I wasn't really.
Well, isn't Ryan the name of your?
Yeah, but
really,
yeah,
like your best friend.
My best friend, but this isn't him. Different. But these weren't the people I connected with. Like the kids I connected with was like my best friend Seth Anderholm, who he and I actually connected on Instagram recently. But he was like this artist that loved anime because his parents watch anime, but his parents were divorced and his mom was a painter. So he didn't make very like his family was very was not financially stable.
Yeah,
you know, mom is a painter and she's taking care of a kid almost alone.
Right.
Dad would sometimes come around, and I don't know why my family didn't let me hang out with people like that, but sometimes I think it's just maybe Asian culture.
Have you ever asked them? I feel like that's something you can definitely.
I know the reason. It's just hard for me to say to the public because I want the public and the audience to understand that I love my family and I love them now, and I'm so thankful for the things that for my childhood. I just don't want to put them. I don't want to put them on blast, but and they're different now. Our relationship is different now, but like in the past, though, I just account this as. Or I take this as an account of, like an effect of the culture that they grew up in, right? Like this isn't their fault.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, seemingly like my grandma was, there's a little bit of judgment in Asian communities, and I think I remember family just talking about like them being poor or very bad influences on me,
right?
Not being good people to be around, and I think those were the wrong assumptions being made. Because Seth was the best kid for the best influence on me in terms of just like he showed me love and he would constantly give me gifts and he would always support me as a friend, always be supportive and say I'm doing amazing and I can even do even better and like
and your parents kind of like took that away from you.
And unfortunately, and it happened multiple times even when after we moved just like you, right? It's hard to make new friends when you move and all these people already have their own friends. So, moved to Arkansas, met some more friends, and my friends were like the skaters, and shit. And parents,
Skater boys.
My mom hated that absolutely.
Oh yeah,
hated it. So I wasn't allowed to see them at all. But basically, in their eyes, I was wasting time. I could have been studying, and I could have been playing tennis.
So Asian,
like you were playing basketball, I could have been playing tennis, playing my instruments, focusing. I was in like a lot of extracurriculars, like I ended up playing 6-7 instruments, sang all through middle and then a little in high school. And then what was like 4 sports, was in tennis all through high school varsity, football, soccer, swimming, karate when I was a kid, and then Boy Scouts and became an Eagle Scout. So I didn't have very much time, and they did it on purpose. They wanted, I know they just wanted to build up my resume, make me like their only child, great example. And then also, what is the word? It also took up all my time, all my free time. So I didn't have a chance to hang out with people. And even if I did, they'd be like, no, you should study for this time.
Yeah.
So, I think basically summary of the whole thing is, I am kind of a weird person now where I am. Like the shit I do, like I'm just bodybuilder who likes to do a podcast and I'm just on social media. I'm not even close to an engineering, that was my degree. But I think it all comes from obviously the upbringing, just like you said. Yeah. And I think even though it did put me in a great place, I think for my kids, I would prefer to act in a more similar way as yours, where now you really want to give back to your family. Yeah. Like you love your family, you want to give back. I want to give back to my family out of the act of selflessness, but if I'm going to be totally real with you, I don't really have an emotional drive. Like, I don't.
I mean, that's fine. It's just how you grew up is so different than how I grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I totally get that.
I do want my kids to feel loved. Like when they're older, I want them to be like able to say, like I'm thankful for my dad.
I think that's the coolest thing.
He loved me. Yeah.
Like when they grow up, they'd be like, and they, once they like really reflect on who we were as parents, they can say like, we had the best dad and the best mom, you know, that any kid could ever have. I think that's, yeah.
But
that's the goal. That's the goal.
given all the situations though and all the circumstances, my parents were amazing parents, and I couldn't be more thankful for them. So, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Let's stop talking about my parents.
Okay. Yeah. On to the next topic.
Oh shit. Do you want to go over to these questions real quick?
Sure.
There's a bunch of more things that I want to ask you, but
sure.
Somehow we fucking already talked
just
for an
come
hour and
over
a
to the
half.
crib sometime, man.
Yeah.
We have hours to chat. Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
actually, I have a question myself that I totally forgot that I wanted to ask you before anything.
Okay.
But prepping as an Asian natural American. Prepping for a bodybuilding contest as a natural Asian American.
Yeah.
What was it like?
To be honest, I thought prep was not as difficult than I originally thought it was going to be. I thought, like, obviously during prep, I had cravings, which was probably the cravings, and not being able to socialize with my friends was definitely the most difficult thing about the entire prep, right? Like, for example, if my friends wanted to go out and eat, you know, I'm like, well, I mean, I could go, but I would just have to bring my meal prep while I'm watching them chow down on like delicious ass food.
Yes.
So why would I even go? You know, like it's just gonna make me feel shittier. And so that was probably the most difficult thing. But outside of that, I thought I was gonna be like dying every single day, right? But I think for me, it's a lot easier for me to sustain a lower body fat percentage compared to, I would say, most people. I think I can sustain a relatively low body fat percentage and still be able to like function properly, right? Maybe that's just me being like a super ectomorph, but it was. I mean, again, prep was. I wouldn't call it easy, but I think because I was so disciplined in every other aspect of my life, it wasn't that bad. And I ended up placing third, and it was a non-drug tested show, and so I was really proud of myself for that. And
you look fucking shredded, dude.
Thank you, man.
You look
Thank
sick
you.
as fuck.
Thank you.
Especially with how tall you are and being Asian, honestly, I thought it was phenomenal.
Man. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of show people that you can do a lot with a natural body. Like you don't have to be enhanced. Like you can really push the boundaries and the limits of your body naturally. And that's really what I just wanted to show people. And yeah, I mean, like even when people used to say like, oh, you like, I get so many cramps on stage for being so low body fat and not having water. And I was on stage like holding a pose for like a really long time. And I remember being fine.
Oh, you're fine.
I was fine. Like I wasn't struggling. And I think also because it was maybe basketball helped me. Like maybe the conditioning and the cardio from basketball had a part to do with that. But I remember getting off stage and like thinking to myself, like, I didn't cramp at all. Like I didn't struggle holding a pose at all. Like what are people talking about, you know? But
one, I think that could be partially from your basketball experience and your athletic experience. Yeah. The other side is, I think a lot of that, a majority of it could also be genetic. Since there are people that will just have cramps versus other people that won't have cramps. That just happens. Same thing with electrolyte balance, you know. Even at a certain electrolyte balance, you may, for some reason, have more cramps than another person. It's kind of the same way how like I have a higher risk of arthritis and tendonitis than the average person. It's like something that just runs in my genes. Yeah. So this tends to happen for people, which is unfortunate. Like I and my dad both technically have like, it's not diagnosed. I would love to call it chronic, but we both tend to have fucking crazy cramps all the time.
I see.
He always has these cramps in his legs, and he used to be a jogger and a tennis player. Even though I could push him over and he would break, which I would never do, but great genetics. And I used to just have like cramps, like waking up at night in the middle of the night and just like my leg would cramp.
Wow,
like,
that's some intense cramping.
It was
right
bad.
There. Wow.
So I don't really know what changed it. I think I just focused more on just being a lot more hydrated, but also making sure that I supplement with a little bit of magnesium, and then I try to get the rest of my electrolytes through a well-balanced diet. Yeah. But and then also some people might take a lot more diuretics. So do you remember what you were taking on stage to get drier? Did you take any diuretics at all?
don't think I took diuretics, man.
Okay.
I think I was only on, I mean, I could look back at it, but I think I was taking like a fat burner of some sort and yohimbine.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah. I think that was really it.
That was it.
Besides like
going on to stage as well.
I think so. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Kyle, I don't know what Kyle would have done, honestly, but a lot of coaches, especially if you're not natural, would probably have given you some sort of diuretics to take before stage. One popular one is called Diazide. That's something I took too. The craziest story I've ever heard of Diazide was Johnny Shreve was on this podcast, and he said one time he took 11 Diazide, 10 or 11 Diazide, which is crazy because I took one Diazide. And I cramped up so much and got so dehydrated that at one point I could not shit.
Whoa.
I could not shit, and I was on the toilet for 2 hours, and I almost thought that I was going to die from anal explosion. I got so scared, bro. I almost called the ambulance. I called my coach. I was like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And then he decided, like, he came down and he gave me a bunch of like magnesium and potassium pills, and then had me drink a little, and it helped a little bit. But yeah, bro,
that sounds intense, man. I don't think I would ever want to take that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I just tend to maybe dehydrate a lot easier than others. Obviously, if Johnny Shreve took 11 Diazide, he did tell me that he actually had, medical... Oh, he had edema. Like his right leg would just fucking swell up to fucking massive sizes.
Yeah.
So he didn't realize he had like lower extremity edema. He didn't realize that was something that he later became diagnosed with.
Yeah.
So it made sense why he would actually have to require more diuretics to like dry himself out, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, water retention is higher for him. I think water retention for me is still a thing, but my skin tends to dry out first, and also just like I become dehydrated easier. So if I get too dry, I even have eczema, which is another thing that I'm genetically prone to.
I see.
So that's I got on a rant when I go to this podcast. I like to like explain to people.
Yeah, no, that's interesting for sure.
Because there's this thing where I think it's very common in like, especially in like comments on like social media, where people will make assumptions about people all the time, and I like to claim and press that like I think it's kind of a little bit ignorant and maybe not the smartest for you to make these assumptions about these people, because you don't know the thousands of variables that made this person who they are.
Yeah, right.
Same thing with steroids and those dosages.
Yeah.
Differs per person. Someone's prescribed 200 milligrams of TRT. Someone's prescribed 100 milligrams of TRT, but then they could end up with the same level of testosterone.
Yeah.
Or at least the same level of performance and side effects. But how do you feel like lifting as a natural bodybuilder and then competing as a natural, how do you think that affected you in your performance on stage as well as like your mentals?
Man, that's a really good question, man. I want to say because I was natural, I almost felt like I had a chip on my shoulder and I had something to prove competing against these guys who are probably taking stuff. You know, I don't want to assume, but it is a non-drug Texas show. So because of that, I think I just trained that much harder, and I think it was really, really dope to just show people like, man, you could do a lot with being natural, man. You really can. And I think a lot of people they want something quick, especially like the era that we live now. But to build a natural physique into something that is quite impressive takes years. It takes a long time.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people are not willing to put in that work and that time to see those results later on. And they'd rather see the results super fast. So yeah, no, I think I was like really fired up actually, and super, super hype to be on stage and just showing people that like, I'm natty, man. Like I'm competing against these guys right here. And they're probably taking stuff. So yeah.
Was there any guy there that you were just like, you are not natty?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I remember being backstage getting a pump with the people in my class, and I was just looking at them like, man, like this is unfair, man. Like, this is what are you doing here? It's not cool, man. Like there's probably one or two that I was like, you're for sure on something. You're for sure on something. But even like the people who didn't necessarily look like they were on something, they could have potentially been on some PEDs or something also, because
Yep.
there's a lot of people who, whether they don't respond well or they just, I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of people who are taking stuff
Yes.
that don't necessarily look like they're taking.
Yeah. That's something I love that's actually being more exposed now. I don't want people to lose hope about like what kind of physique or success they could achieve, because otherwise you and I would not be here. There's so many people I know that would not be here if they just thought that they couldn't reach something that made them happy.
Yeah.
But dude, there's this thing that's like the industry is like being more exposed now as to how much variance there is in just what a physique looks like. And this is through steroids or no steroids and genetics as well.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter that a lot of us know, but a lot of us don't want to admit, especially speak out loud, is like there's a lot of black people, and a majority more often than not, normally like say Western Africans, that will tend to have a drier and a more fuller physique than someone that is maybe either white or Asian with bad muscle building genetics on a lot of steroids.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time, all the time. And I could tell you like 3 black buddies of mine that are fucking savages. They work out hard in the gym, but I know that they don't take steroids, especially because they don't like this guy, for example. He's not even really in the fitness industry, and he doesn't do anything like that.
He just likes lifting.
Yeah, but fucking dude, their physiques look phenomenal, man.
Yeah,
They look
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And when I look at it, I'm just like, if you were white, in my mind subconsciously, I would think that you were on some Mastron and probably maybe even a little bit of like Winstrol or something. I would literally be like, you are on some kind of DHT dryer that makes you look fucking crazy, full and shredded, but you're not.
Yeah.
You just look like that. And
Yeah.
that
People.
there's people that just have the genetics to not look like they have any muscle whatsoever. And then they take steroids and like they get a little bigger, but it doesn't look very aesthetic. And then maybe the side effects come in. Maybe there's acne, and hair loss. Doesn't happen to everybody, of course. But it's unfair. The world is unfair sometimes. It's literally how it is.
Man, people are just genetically blessed, man. Yeah. Genetics are huge. Like, how much would you say genetics play in a physique compared to like taking PEDs?
That's hard.
Yeah.
That depends, though. That's the thing. That depends, because you could have someone that's like 20% genetically enhanced. Genetically enhanced. Just pretend that that's a word, right? Or has a genetic advantage. And then you could have someone that seems to have like an 80% genetic advantage. Obviously, the 80% will probably be more substantial than the person that takes like a 20% advantage of like PEDs, right? So it's gonna vary all the time. Yeah. But
But you would say it's largely because of genetics.
It can be largely.
Yeah.
I think people undervalue how much genetics can affect.
I agree. 100%.
Physique. And I think a lot of people overvalue how much steroids can affect someone's physique. Now, DHTs and dryers can make you look amazing, right? But after a certain point, it's like the newbie gains. Like you make newbie gains as a newbie lifter. That's like a natural. You can also make like newbie steroid gains as a enhanced individual. But after those newbie steroid gains, things slow down quick. You gain a lot of water weight, especially intracellular water weight in the muscle. But if you look at any bodybuilder that has come off steroids for a long time, what happens? They go back to a normal size. Like look at any pro bodybuilder that was even Mr. Olympia that is now older and not doing bodybuilding. They literally go back to a normal size, even if they're working out every single day and still eating right.
Yeah.
Still go back to a normal size, right?
So you think
seemingly?
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. But
go.
So you're basically saying that whatever you obtain from the PEDs, like eventually you lose it all.
I mean, eventually, of course. It's just like eventually we'll die. Eventually, you're going to lose it all.
Right, but you'll maintain a good portion of it if you hop off, like in the beginning stages, is what you're saying?
You can maintain a lot of muscle mass.
I'm asking this like I'm prepared to like.
It degrades very, very, very slowly, right? And obviously, the bigger you are over your supposed genetic limit that nobody knows, then the harder it'll be to maintain that, right? So I think it's just you could never know, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's also other people that might blow up on like an amp of test, and then some people that don't. So then it's hard to compare because those people actually were super responsive to gear.
Yeah.
So that's why I just say, like, try not to make assumptions. I think it's best not to make assumptions. That's literally just the whole point of everything I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Did not know all of that, dude. Thanks for
It's
enlightening me.
It's like something that I like thinking about when I'm talking to you, is because there are some Asians that are gifted with like amazing things, like Fu, right?
Yeah.
Fu looks like
Fu look
he
insane,
sometimes
dude.
looks like he's running a little bit of gear.
He has to be.
Right. He has to be.
Kidding.
Yeah. But he's also really good at taking really good pictures of himself. You
Uh-huh.
know? So there's that too. But I think, at least from what I've heard, it seems Asians tend to have the most disadvantage when it comes to
Really?
building muscle and
Wow.
and maybe having the lowest percentage of fat. Now, when it comes to shape, though, we got some good ass shape.
Yeah.
Especially them Koreans.
Uh-huh.
Bro, fucking Koreans have these long torsos, tiny little waist, and big fucking legs.
Yeah.
They got big ass horse legs.
Uh-huh.
That shit, that's some genetic shit.
Yeah.
Koreans got big legs.
Right.
Fucking awesome. But it seems like, I think Asians in general, especially like the lighter skinned Asians, tend to have not as great overall
I see.
muscle genetics than,
Wow, that
say,
makes me
someone
feel
that's,
like
black.
Now that you said that, it almost makes me feel even more proud of what I accomplished.
Yeah, you
at
absolutely
the
should be.
bodybuilding
Right,
show.
you should be.
Wow.
It's also why sometimes I think that's also why it's hard for me to like say whether or not like I would believe Josh is natural, so I just don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Josh has probably the most phenomenal physique I think I've ever just seen in person.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And so it's
He
really
looks- he
hard.
does look
It's
crazy.
really hard to believe he's natural. It is
Yeah.
generally, as his own friend, it's hard for me to believe that.
Yeah.
But I can't doubt that there are special
Yeah.
humans, you know?
Uh-huh.
And also, I can never doubt that he doesn't put in the work because he trains for 2 hours a day and poses for at least like an hour a day.
Yeah.
He poses
Wow.
for so long, bro, that like after years and years of him doing it, I would be disappointed if he didn't get that like natural Mr. Olympia placement that he deserves.
Yeah.
You know? So
He's a natural Mr. Olympia.
no, he's just natural, but he's going for that.
Oh, I see.
He got the Mr. Universe for Muscle Mania.
Hell yeah, dude.
Which is fucking sick. So now I think he's going for the natural
Yeah.
Mr. Olympia.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
crazy.
From there. But
Holy. Yeah, he looks insane. Yeah. Wow.
I want to ask more about your stories, but we're running out of time, so I'm gonna go over these questions real quick.
Yeah, you can always ask me whenever, man.
I'll do anything to have more of the steak you guys made.
I got you, man. Costco steaks for the win.
Why don't you? Dig Oval asks, why don't you start a voice acting announcer, TV reporter career? Your voice is special.
You know what? A lot of people have commented that, whether I go on live or whether it's in my comments.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that, but
Can you say Larry Gow in the lowest voice?
the lowest voice.
Yeah.
Larry Gow. Larry Gow. Larry Gow.
Nice.
Yeah, but I don't think I have like a voice actor worthy voice.
What? I bet you just haven't tried.
I don't know. A lot of people.
You definitely do. People say that about me, so people definitely say that about you.
I don't know if that's something I want to get into. Maybe as a side
though.
quest way in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be like the most badass, like the most biggest and buffest Asian anime characters. Any Asian character that's huge and just fucking like jacked and
Yeah.
manly, you could just would literally be perfect.
You know what? I will say I have a very strong appreciation for voice actors because they're almost what makes that anime character who they are.
Yeah.
And I think it's so sick. Yeah, like
Which
there's
is
this
why,
there's this one voice actor, Japanese voice actor. He has such a distinct voice. He voices Nanami in Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but I think he's phenomenal. And I think every time you hear his voice, you know it's him. Like it's so good. Yeah. But so yeah, maybe in the future, responding to that question. Yeah.
Can you say in a world? Like
in a world.
now, can you try to say it like in a world?
In a world.
Sick.
In a world of jacked Asian characters. I don't know.
Jacked Asian characters. Oh man. Andrew Margaret says, I'm 5'9", 25 years old and have still been training for 4 years. Still only 155 pounds. Should I take gear? Question.
No, don't fall into the dark side, man. Don't fall into the dark side.
Fall into the dark side.
No, 4 years is still 4 years it's a good amount of time, but dude, you could push it so much more.
Come to the dark side.
No, don't let Mel convince you, man. Stay natty.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, because I've been working out for 8 years, and every single year, I feel like my physique gets better, and it's only because like, one, I push myself super hard in the gym, and two, it's just I'm consistent, and I've been doing this for 8 years.
Like obviously everybody has different values. If you don't value your career as much, then my advice is not the best for you. But if you were going to ask for my personal advice, I would say if you were 25 years old and up, then yes, there is more potential where I think it is more reasonable for you to. But if you're not planning to compete and make this your profession or your career, I don't think how much it takes for you to upkeep gear use as well as your health is worth the time required to do something that's simply recreational.
Well put.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a lot of stuff. I fucking have to talk to my doctors constantly, coaches constantly, check my blood work regularly.
Yeah.
I'm also very worried about my organs. So, I got to think about doing tests before other people and way more often than other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's just so expensive.
Yeah.
The medical bills just rack up too. It's just not worth it unless you're making some money off of it, in my opinion,
Definitely do all of the research that you guys can too beforehand. Oh, here we go. We got a good question. Come on.
If he'd go on a date with me, even though he has a girl.
That was from Rebecca. That was from Rebecca. Man, Rebecca, you troll.
What you did earlier at the gym today fucked me up, bro. This shit got me fucked up.
What? The workout?
Sniffing your armpit and fucking specimen.
It's the pheromones, man.
Master Shlomo asks, can boys and girls be friends?
Man, we're going back to this question
from our last podcast.
Yeah, I kind of got like a lot of heat from the last podcast because I said this.
Did you
again,
really?
like I said, like there's exceptions, but I think I'm starting to become more open-minded to that possibility. Mm-hmm. But I just still think like it's very difficult, I'll say, but it's possible.
I think it's difficult, and I also think it's way less common.
Yeah.
I definitely agree that it's way less common. But there are those occasions where like sometimes a guy is not attracted to a girl or a girl isn't attracted to a guy, but then they're like.
But do you think like these people would admit that though? You know what I'm saying? Like
they wouldn't like admit like I think you're ugly or something. I don't think
No, not just that, but admit that like I'm trying to get at you. You know
the people
like,
that are,
let's
the
just
people
say,
that are attracted.
Yeah, the people that are attracted to each other and they're friends, like they're not gonna say like,
oh fuck no,
oh I'm attracted to them, so that's why maybe maybe
no.
Yeah, exactly. No one's gonna say that.
Yeah, especially if you're more in the friend zone with each other, the way less chances are you going to say that.
Yeah,
straight up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, in fact, people who are like friend zoning each other but think they're attracted, they're literally just like, it's almost like they're lying. They're not quite lying because their perspective has changed about the person, but it's like they're like straight up like, no, like I would never, like I'm not attracted to that person. Now here's the thing that I've noticed, and this happens to me a lot, is like your perspective changes based off of your interactions with that person. So if you and that person have actually gotten closer and connected, and then you start supporting each other, and then you started doing really sweet things for each other, and then you started like treating each other really nice, I swear to you, I almost promise you, more times than not, the physical attraction will increase between each other. Like you will like say that you were a girl, Larry.
Yeah.
And then you started.
Let's fantasize.
And you were shorter than me, and then you just like out of nowhere, we started clicking in a lot of places. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. We connect in a lot of places. Then we started talking about like our meaning of life and what fulfills us, and we connected on that too. And then you started like saying nice things about me. And then at some point we started like being extra sweet to each other. Like I went on a trip, went to like Japan, and then got you like a gift or something, and things progressed. I know for a fact, I promise with all my heart, if I was single, how physically attractive you would look to me would just substantially increase.
I know. I agree.
I would find you hotter and hotter and hotter as a physical person, not just like because those feelings associated with you and your look just made me feel different. It's crazy. Like I've literally seen myself where like a relationship has gone sour in my past. Like one of my exes, for example, where they start expecting all these things from me that are crazy and way out of the boundaries of our discussed relationship, where they start getting mad at me for like maybe not being up to their expectations and the things they want from me, where they start calling me names or start like hitting me or these things. I literally, like when I look at them, I can't see how beautiful their eyes were. I can't I can't see how pretty their smile is. It's like I can't see it anymore. Right. And I just don't I just don't see it.
100% relate to you on that. I've had a very similar experience too, where because of all those things that you've mentioned, where it turned sour, I couldn't look at them the same way anymore. Yeah. You know? And it's very sad in the moment when you realize like, oh damn, like I don't know if we could ever recover from this. You know? Yeah. Yeah. So it's okay, man. We're up. Relationships we're up. It's all learning lessons. It's all experiences, you know?
Lucero Crystal asks, how do you feel about the passing of Akira Toriyama?
That was really sad. That was really sad. I think so many younger kids are out there who were first originally inspired because of Dragon Ball. And I think he himself inspired just so many people that it was just a sad day. Truly. Like, yeah, like I watched a lot of Dragon Ball growing up. The one I can remember is I think it was the Cell Saga. I remember seeing that, and I absolutely loved it, man. And I'm like, dude, these characters look insane. How do you even get a physique like that?
It's so sick, so aesthetic. Yeah. I love the side profiles every time where like the back of the neck is like a fucking semisphere.
Yeah, I was like,
the hair just.
Yeah, I thought they were like the coolest characters.
Yeah.
Back then when I was growing up. So
same.
I'm curious too. Like, how did you feel about that?
So I actually talked to I talked to this guy at the gym. I actually don't really know him very well, but I saw that he always wore a Dragon Ball Z shirt to the gym all the time. Like big ass beard, kind of like a funny,
Master Roshi,
like cool nerdy guy. Yeah. And we just sat down while we were doing some sets and talked about it one day, and he was like, "You know what's crazy, dude? 68 years old. All of these manga writers are dying around this age of like." Before they turn 70. And the craziest thing is Japan has the longest life expectancy. So why is it that these manga writers are all dying at such an early age respective to the rest of Japan?
Stress.
And yeah, these manga writers have impacted all of our lives in such a positive way. Like literally the entire world has changed because of Dragon Ball Z. I wouldn't even be doing the content I'm doing probably if it wasn't Dragon Ball Z, especially not being named.
And even just like setting the tone for upcoming animes.
Right.
So much inspiration that you can get from Dragon Ball alone.
Even though they've done such a good job at affecting all of us and making our lives happier and funner and just being phenomenal, they spend their entire time in a room, not outside, probably not with a lot of friends or family, sitting down at a desk.
Yeah.
How many hours, how many days, how many months, how many years to create an entire series called Naruto, or an entire series called One Piece, or an entire series called Dragon Ball. Dude, like your entire life just spent at a desk alone.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Right.
Like that sounds like a low life expectancy.
That's a cool perspective that you just put into my head. Yeah. Like I knew it was extremely time consuming, maybe even life consuming, but hearing you say that, like it definitely put a new perspective in my head on like how much just alone time they actually spend, like trying to create something that only they right now can envision, but hopefully other people can see in the future, like the big picture. Yeah,
that's something I will keep for the rest of my life now. After Ryan, after I didn't spend time with my friends because I was obsessed with growing on social media because I thought my followers and like engagement was all that mattered. And I would lose it.
Yeah.
Then I just stopped hanging out with my friends, and then sooner or later, the girl I thought that I was going to marry and have kids with, and then my best friend, two of my best friends died. They were gone. So kind of a big slap in the face and making me realize not only is it good for long life expectancy, but I valued the wrong things because those are the real things that really made me happy. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm glad. I'm glad you realized that, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. It's not easy to share saying something like that. So
I'm just hoping that we all continue to like value and realize the things that really do make us happy. That's all.
Yeah.
So, at least in the name of my buddies.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
All right. I got one last question to ask you.
Okay.
At the end of every podcast.
Okay.
If you were to die tomorrow and you had one message you could send to the entire world, what would it be?
Oh man. That is a loaded question. If I were to die tomorrow, you have one message to the world. Man. Man. That's I would say do everything with purpose and do everything to the best of your abilities. I think that's the model that I live by, at least, and I think I think that would be a good message for everyone, really.
That was Asian as fuck.
Yeah, I know it was, but that's what I've been taught growing up, and I think I just don't think you should half-ass anything that you do, and especially something that you're passionate about. This can apply to so many different things, right? Like if you want to like love, like make sure you love hard, get those experiences of what love actually is. If you want to start a business, like start it and do all the research that you can and do everything in your power to make sure that that it's successful, because you don't want to have any regrets in the future. Because so many people that you hear when they get older or when they're on their deathbed, they have all these regrets. And whether it's you can argue like you're gonna have regrets regardless, even if you do everything to the best of your abilities and do everything that you want to do, maybe you'll still have regrets. But I think for me, at least, I don't want to have any regrets, and I don't want to think back on my life in the future and, not like accomplishing or not doing something that I always wanted to do. I think that would eat me up inside. And that's why my message for these people is just do everything to the best of your ability, do everything with purpose. Because just me personally, I don't want to have any regrets on just my life,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it is very Asian of me for sure. Yeah.
I love it though. It was a good answer.
And I also just think like it's a good message too, because I don't think enough people realize like that they could be working so much harder. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because I thought I was working hard, and I truly didn't realize that a lot of my time was like split, whether that's like on social media and scrolling versus just like doing like little tasks here and there around the house. Like I wasn't realize like how much I was actually like slacking off on myself.
Yeah.
And
like learning your priorities.
Yeah. And just like, I don't know, man, like I just realized like how much I was just being real with myself and how much I was actually procrastinating with everything. And I thought I was working hard, but I was actually not. So, yeah.
I see myself doing that all the time too.
Yeah.
Always throughout my entire life. So I get it. I think that's one reason I love the podcast is I am forced to sit here for 2 hours and just be in a flow state. And God, do I never have more presence than when I'm on a podcast?
Yeah.
Or when I'm like trying to be present with like, I don't know, like friends at a rave and we're talking about stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, those are the most beautiful times of my life and the times I remember the most. So.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome. What would your message be? Have you ever said this on a pod?
I don't think I'm allowed to say this.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know what I'd be, but
work harder.
We're out of time. Anyways.
Work harder, guys. That's my message.
Yeah. Work harder, guys.
Yeah.
So, Larry Gow, where can everybody find you?
You can follow me, just my name, Larry Gow or Larry_Gow on Instagram. If you guys want to, say that you guys are one of the first to, support the supplement brand that I have, Shonen Supplements, everywhere. And yeah, no, thanks for having me again, dude.
Yeah,
Seriously.
thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah,
that was sick.
Of course,
that was fun as fuck.
That was fun.
That
we went way over.
Smacked. That weed smacked. I had no smoke coming out of my mouth. The next thing I know,
holy shit, that was good.
Zooted.
That was good.
All right. Love you guys. Thanks for coming on. If you would like to support the podcast, you can by rating us 5-star on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you find a podcast, or subscribing to the YouTube channel and clicking the bell button, because you guys know that that's the way that you guys get notified, and thus, obviously, increases the performance of the podcast and allows me to get big and great and amazing guests like Larry today. So, love you guys. All right. Peace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.